Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the National Model Railroad Build-Off series that I'm doing. And here are some of the pictures showing the progress of what I was doing. I figured that having a video showing the same thing over and over as what the next elements of the scenery would just be monotonous and tedious, and so I only took pictures as I was progressing at this point. For my wet water for the dirt, I didn't use just straight alcohol. I actually used the mix that I had for the Vallejo Black in with the alcohol and used that to give it a darker look than what was already there, and then just slowly progressed putting that with the dirt and then gluing it. For the glue, I used a mix of just Elmer's school glue and would fill the one of the containers up to about a third of the way full and then filled the rest of it with water and just applied it liberally, as you can see in these pictures. And then also sprinkled in some of the scenery material when the glue was still wet, and that way it was pretty much done in terms of the scenery material as well, and didn't have to go back in and re-glue down the clumps of foliage. I also decided I wanted to do an irrigation canal off the side of the bigger field that I had. And to do that, I took the blade out of my X-Acto knife and just scraped out a little bit of a canal with it, as it was just about the right width and about halfway through, or about half of the X-Acto was the perfect depth for the irrigation canal. And so went ahead and did that. And then here is a short video I have of detailing kind of what I was doing with it, but I'm going to voice over it as well. I have all of the dirt in, as you can see. The only spots that are left to do are where the buildings will be put, at the farm buildings, I should say. And I held off doing that. This is where the elevators should be fitting once I'm done. And I put in some gravel along the dirt there to make it look like there was a road that led up to the elevator to come in and out. And then I'll also blend in that with the ramps where you can kind of see a little bit of where it's at. But I needed to get the ramps painted and also get the spot where the buildings are going to sit as well. I also decided to use some telephone poles that I had and place the ones in the spots that I'd already finished just to get a feel for them, and then went through and we'll put them along the backside once the dirt and that is in. Also, the service station is sitting where it's going to be at, and I'm just describing here that I'm going to go through and paint the spots of foam that is still undone, and that way I know exactly where the buildings are going to be at, or relatively close, and can get everything blended in with the rest of the scenery. And then here is where I painted the spots for the other buildings, and then jumped ahead a bit of just getting all the scenery done around the buildings. Because I had the dirt done, I then poured the water in the canal and decided that I wanted to add the car and some wood in there as just debris, and hurried and got that in there after I'd poured it. And went back through, added some more shrubs in between the tracks where they're not being used and stuff would be growing, and decided to have the ladder off of the elevator and have it just sitting there. So that was just a close-up of what I'd done with that. And then there's a few just closer shots of the different buildings and what's around them and just having them in frame, kind of the different scenes that there are. And this leads up to the massive redo that I had to do of tearing out the irrigation canal. The water started to dry and leave big holes, and I tried to fix it with some water effects, but that just made it worse. And I decided that it was just going to be easiest to tear it out and redo it. I will pick up narration with that. So real quick, I'd put some realistic water down in the canal here, and then I tried to cover up some holes with the water effects, and I'm just not happy with how it's turning out with some of it being dried up already. So as you can see, I'm just going to tear it out quick, redo it, and then keep going. I'll leave the little part with the car right in front of it up to just here where you can see some of that in there. I may end up tearing more of that water out there, but I'm going to try and salvage at least this half, or at least this little piece there, because it looks pretty good. So anyway, we're tearing that out and starting over. So that is a quick update for that. And then we pick up with some more pictures of the progress for the canal. I ended up putting Sculpt the Mold down on it, as I thought the water may have been seeping in through some hole, but I couldn't see where it was at. And after I poured the second pour, or the first pour, in the new canal, it still dried a little weird, and that it seemed like there were a few low spots. And I ended up just pouring a little bit more in the two locations that are here, or at least this one spot, and it filled it up, but you can see some of those holes. And to just fix it, I just put a little bit more shrub in it to hide it, as it wouldn't really matter. And then I did the dirt around the service station and got that put in and blended as well. And then took another shot of the canal with everything being dried, and was very happy with it. And we'll end with the 4 side views of the diorama as it was at that point. And I will say, as of the editing of this video, it is finished, and we'll pick up with more progress later. Thanks for watching.